This is my week 6 video summary. In this one, we're going to go over the neat resource about augmented reality, the discussion Engage and Rage, and a little bit about what the project is doing for me, or what me and Sean are doing about the project. So the first thing we'll talk about is the neat resource. This was about augmented reality and what it could be. Augmented reality is a really interesting subject to me. It's something that I've always found kind of intriguing. Kind of want to mess with it and see what's up with it for myself. My resource was about augmented reality in learning. So all sorts of stuff from using it to see in paleontology to see 3D models of dinosaurs, to see different compounds and stuff like that. And then the one that interested me was this one, where this lady and this lady here both think that they're inside of a space station. I think that's interesting to me because I am definitely one for a hands-on learning experience. And if I can immerse myself into what I'm learning, like this, it would be much more effective as a learning technique. The other two neat resources that stood out to me were Elijah Graham. He posted an article from Harvard about how AR can be used in the medical field, and Sean Sullivan posted a video about how it's used in the medical field. It would be helpful to be able to kind of blow up figures, if you will, in order to see what's going on and more clearly understand. Like, for example, if you're doing a knee replacement and you can't find a part of the knee, blow up the diagram of the knee and see exactly where it's at, so you can kind of compare pictures or compare notes and see where it's at and go from there. Basically what Sean's video touched on as well is the same idea. For the discussion, it was Engage or Enrage. It was interesting. It was about it was an article about different learning styles and different students, written by a gentleman named, I don't remember, I put it in mine, Mark Prensky. My first impression of the article is that Mark Prensky is old and outdated. It's a little bit harsh, but basically my point is that after asking Google, I found out he's 74 years old. He learned with a notebook, a pencil, and the textbook by reading the textbook. This worked for him because his method of information intake was books. When he was a kid and in his generation, people read for information. The dictionary, encyclopedias, nonfiction books, stuff like that. So reading the textbook was his best way of learning. My generation and the generations in front of me, our information intake is via technology. Now that isn't our fault. That was the world we were born into. I'm 22 years old, so I was right on the cusp of it. I kind of was born into a world that was starting to adapt it, but definitely the next few years below me, the 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, they were born into a world where they didn't have a choice. They started their information through technology, and the best way that they learn is through technology. So Mark is saying that we need to, or educators need to adapt new ways of teaching because we are pushing away the old styles, or my generation and the ones in front of me are pushing away the old styles, which is true, but it's because we learn better through technology. Whether that's good or bad, that's a whole other argument. But that's how we learn, so that's how we need to learn. Younger educators, 30, 35 years old, are adapting technology into their learning styles, and it seems like it's working better. At least for me and from what I've heard around my campus. So if we can include technology or immerse the curriculum in technology, we'll be golden. Now, my generation is kind of in this awkward point where we're realizing this and we're making the transition from textbook to online text or online third-party ways of learning, whether it's MATLAB or anything like that, in order to grab a certain point of our education. So once we get it figured out, it'll work a lot better. For the project, me and Sean are working on it. We're putting ideas on paper, starting to come up with a couple different problems or a couple different resources for rotational inertia that hit on all 14 of our learning objectives. We will have that finished up by next Sunday. This has been my week 6 objective summary.